Hello, everybody. Hey, rocking on. Good for you for being here. Rock on. I like that. So today, Jess and I are going to present how Seattle has been using Adopt-A-Drain as our behavior change program, but it's so much more for our city. It's been great. So we're going to talk about our recent evaluation that we completed, our report that we did as part of behavior change. Jess is going to talk more about that evaluation, lesson learned. I will talk a little bit about how we're going to implement those lessons, and then we'll talk about future plans. So, here's our clicker. Is that forward?
That's working. Yeah, working. Oh, okay.
So, my name is Harper. It's Susan Harper, but I use my last name because I do. And I help people see how our drainage systems connect to local waterways and how small actions can make a big difference in preventing stormwater pollution.
Thank you. And I'm Jess, and I help all the city departments of Seattle carry out the requirements of our permit. So I'm that girl, so that we stay in compliance and then also protect our waterways. All right, so we hope that you'll be able to take away today how Seattle has made Adopt-A-Drain an effective behavior change program that meets our education and outreach requirements of our municipal stormwater permit or MS4 permit. We'll share the lessons learned about our program over the last few years and through our 2024 program evaluation. And we'll talk about what we're doing next and talk about how we'll set ourselves up for another successful permit required evaluation process.
Fun.
All right, so if you represent a phase 1 or a phase 2 MS4 permittee in Washington, then your jurisdiction is required to implement an education and outreach campaign that is 3-pronged. So we must build general awareness about stormwater and its impacts and how to address it. 2, we need to create stewardship opportunities for folks to encourage them to engage in community action to address stormwater runoff. And 3rd, we need to effect behavior change to tackle the behaviors and practices that contribute to negative stormwater impacts. And so the selected behavior change program needs to address one audience and at least one BMP from a list defined in the permit. So for Seattle, our BMP, our audience is, we reach our residents in the MS4 area. We have a special additional focus audience who's our Hispanic community, and we're addressing the BMP of litter and debris prevention.
And I'm not going to, were most people here for the last presentation, so I don't need to go too much into some of these things, but they did win an award, Hamlin, for this program. There's 21 states now, so I took this as a screenshot before we had more. And here in Washington State, we've got 41,000 pounds of debris collected so far. And what's significant about the program in bringing it here, in which Tracy mentioned, we had a lot of hurdles. The city of Seattle has definitely got some risk-averse issues. So we had to go through a special request to get the website approved because we don't like to use third-party websites. Not that ours is that great, right? That's what I liked about the program, really. I found it and I said, we got to do this. So I did a business case. You could use Esri to put your own program together, but you're not going to get the kind of suite of materials and the cohesiveness that this Hamlin program gives you. So that's just a bottom line thing. It's going to be a cost saver. And yeah, we brought it here to Seattle and brought around our friends to do it with us. And so in 2021, we launched as part of our education outreach. We decided to take it on as behavior change, and it helps reach our stormwater goals. And as you know, the volunteer, oh, what did I do?
It's okay.
I decided not to be nervous before this, and that is what happened.
We're just going back.
Because you don't
Right in.
care,
Yeah.
because you people are nice. I know that. This is like our, so name your great, we love that you get to name your drain, and people love that. They do competitions, Alexander the Great, Pinky the Drain, Insane in the Membrane. I remember when we started it, do we have, oh, it's not up here, Hermione Dranger. So we did a press release on it. That's what caught the press's eye. It got out. We were with Sammamish, Redmond, Tacoma. I can't name them all. So if I don't name them all, I didn't write that down. This is unscripted. So that is really helpful for us. I touched something again. Oh my God. All right, so we'll go here. So this program is based on community-based social marketing. And if you notice, Seattle right now has about 682 participants. About 30 of those may have dropped out since 2021. We can get that information from Hamlin. One thing that Hamlin didn't tell you is there's a back end of this whole thing that I have access to all the data. So I download my own data. I can find out where people heard about the program. But as you can see, it's a very individualized program. We also do a giveaway, and people will ask, why are you asking me to do this? Isn't this your job? Well, there's about 30,000 storm drains in Seattle. We can't keep up with that. So we really need your help. The second thing we found out is people were already cleaning their drains. So this was just a way for them to get credit for that. And so this is the little bag we give out, and there's some leaf claws in here. There's a trash picker in here. And leaf claws, and more information about Adopt-A-Drain. This is what Redmond was giving out, like little sweepers, or a broom and a dustpan. So it was a way to get people involved, and it worked really well. As you can see by our numbers. People report what they're giving or what they're collecting. In Seattle, we have about a 29% rate of return. And we have an active presence on Facebook, high levels of satisfaction and retention. As I told you, only 30 people have left the program since they've been, it's been started. And we've expanded to our Spanish-speaking community.
You wanna, or you take it?
Here, you take it,
Oh.
because I don't want to miss you.
Oh, correct. Okay, so the 2019, so the previous permit, stormwater permit, required us to evaluate our behavior change program. We needed to measure change in the target audience's understanding and adoption of the chosen behavior by participating in Adopt-A-Drain, and identify and recommend changes to the program so that it can be more effective. And just a reminder, we're required to do the same thing in 2029 for the current permit cycle. So we have to do this again. And that's okay. We want to try to make things better all the time. Progress, not perfection. All right, so to help gather data for this evaluation, Seattle surveyed our Adopt-A-Drain participants. We had about a 30% response rate actually on the email that was sent out, which I think is pretty good. I'm hearing a lot of the 30%, the 29, yeah. So we conducted an online survey. We coordinated with the city of Duval on that survey to compare results, and Larissa's in the back here. So she's representing a smaller municipality who has many fewer adopters than us, but we chose to use the same questions in the survey so that we could compare a small jurisdiction and a large jurisdiction and see if there were similar findings. So our survey had 8 questions about the program. It was pretty short, 3 demographic questions. So it was designed to get at a few things. It was designed to get at what was successful about the program so far, what are some areas for improvement, what supports people needed, what their motivations were to clean their drains, and what barriers get in the way. And these are all questions at the core of social marketing research. So the data we collected through the survey, as well as just Harper's knowledge gathered over the last few years of being in the community, implementing the program, helped us identify 5 key themes to improve upon. And Duval did see very similar themes through their survey results. And we hope that you can take these lessons and use our experiences and build your program to be successful from the get-go. All right, first, through our evaluation, we learned that clean waterways is the primary motivator for our audience to be involved in this program. But about a third of our survey respondents didn't know where their stormwater ended up going, and that it often goes untreated. So we see the need to strengthen that relationship or the community's understanding of the connection between stormwater infrastructure and waterway health. So if we can better emphasize that relationship between preventing pollutants getting to the drain and preventing downstream waterway impacts, then we think that we can have a more sustained adoption of the behavior. All right, secondly, our survey told us that we've been pretty effective actually at engaging the white English-speaking community across the city. They make up most of our drain adopters in Seattle. And so to better engage a more diverse community, we need to create culturally informed materials and engage underrepresented groups like renters and non-English speaking individuals and younger adults. And so if we can kind of use the language that resonates with these kinds of communities and their concerns, then we might see an improved level of recruitment with those communities. All right, third, since we have the cleaner waterways and then secondarily, reduce street flooding as our primary motivators for performing this action, we now understand that we will probably be more successful if we can leverage the people who also have those same motivations in mind. So people who are already thinking about waterways. So think about the existing drain adopters. Can we leverage them? Because they might have friends or family or their community who are like-minded. And so they would be the best people to share this as well. So building the relationship with the existing adopters can lead to a more extensive behavior change. Our fourth take home, the community clears away debris from their street storm drains more frequently than before they started the program. But we did learn that the frequency of cleanings is not consistent and not all participants are checking or clearing their drains monthly, which is kind of what we're asking them to do. So we do need to clarify a little bit the expectations of how often we want them to clean their drains. And then finally, our survey found that there are few barriers to cleaning the debris away from the drains, but the survey respondents, there were 120 of them, they were quite honest. And they said that, they acknowledge that forgetfulness really is the thing that gets in the way. Also, sometimes there's no debris there to clean, but forgetfulness was the key barrier for people to carry out this behavior. All right, and that was also, the forgetfulness was also the barrier for reporting their activities as well through the online portal. All right, so those are the lessons from our 2024 evaluation. Harper's going to now share more about what we'll do with these findings going forward.
So the first thing we really found that is a really strong connector is using that storm drain as a connector. But how do we connect that storm drain to the waterway? Well, we want to use more visuals, more communications with our existing adopters to tell them how it's connected, what are these upstream behaviors we're concerned about, that it's not treated when it goes into the storm drain, so we can help them be better ambassadors about this information. We also wanted to find ways to better connect it to their local watershed so it becomes more meaningful to them. And you can see like using maps and other ways to do that. Oh my God, did I change it? You know what? You know what's going on? It's my notes are changing.
Something.
This.
Someone
So
else's, that's it.
yeah, how do I do that? How do I get rid of that?
You just click on the text, does it let you go through and click on it?
Well, there's
Not
not
on that screen.
Yes.
That's like the last thing.
Oh, God, sorry, guys. So we want to emphasize the stormwater system impacts, but also create a clear link between debris removal and healthier waterways.
Just
Oh, look,
it's
it's back. It's back.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, but
And not that, and then also we find using a map's really helpful, especially with outreach too. Where does your water go? And people don't know what a watershed is necessarily, but when you have that map showing boundaries, it makes it easier to talk about things like that. We also want to use stories from our frontline staff who are actually cleaning these storm drains, putting booms in storm drains so the oil doesn't go any further, things like that. So we're going to work on that suite of materials. So we want to make sure it's engaging and relevant. And social media is where we've actually gotten a lot of our participants from either events or social media. So social media is a great place to put this, and we do have our own Adopt-A-Drain social media account. We also want to engage a more diverse community. So we embarked on a Spanish language campaign, and we worked to create a commercial that we actually had on Univision. I think it was Univision. But what we found out really, social media is the way to go to get to this community. And this is Paulina Lopez, who's the director of the Duwamish River Community Coalition, and her son. So using local people is really important. Some of our Washington Drain adopters have had council members who say they've adopted, different stories like that. So it's really something you can do locally to show off who's doing the program. Teray Corral, what we did when we launched the Spanish language campaign, we did some survey first. Well, first was focus group, then was survey, then was some more focus group. We're using the word alcantarilla instead of drenaje desaje. I don't speak Spanish well, but what we found out is that using and this alcantarilla seemed to cross Spanish language cultures, because you know any language is going to have different interpretations. That is not going to be perfect for everyone. That's why you want to find out locally. The other thing that we did when we first brought the program to Seattle is we have the Department of Neighborhood sponsors community liaisons. These are folks who have language or cultural communities that they work with, and they're basically contractors who do short-term contracting through the Department of Neighborhoods. So they did review this program to make sure that it would be easy to translate and to put into different languages. So we had a Chinese speaker, we had Spanish, Somali, Vietnamese. I can't think of all of them, but there was about 7 of them that I worked with in a focus group way to look at this campaign. Teray also led the whole strategy for when we engaged with social media influencers, with the radio. We did a Spanish Fiestas Patrias down at Seattle Center. And it was great because we could see where people were coming from too. And they're not all from Seattle, believe me, when you're at Fiestas Patrias. But for us, it really helped us learn more. about the program and the audience. So the important thing, though, is when we put together the Spanish language campaign, I worked with other folks, like Burien was very involved. Is Jonica in here? And anyway, so Burien was involved, CTAC, Anne, Tacoma. So we created and then I used some of the community liaisons that speak Spanish and Cascadia consulting firms. So I had this little think tank that we worked together to create this campaign. And now we want to sustain it because language knows no boundaries, right? Spanish speaking communities are everywhere. So we might work out something within our collective to keep this going, because the other thing about translation is you want to keep in mind, if you're going to translate the website or the materials, you have to keep talking to that community. You can't just go, oh, it's translated, So creating that relationship. This year might be a little challenging because of the political changes, but we'll see how it goes. Our plan is to launch another Spanish campaign in the fall. We've also been building strong relationships and partnerships. We work with our Adopt-A-Street program, Love Your Street, Help the Rain Drain. It's really exciting to see people working together. We've put out a couple postcards now to all of our volunteers at the end of the year, kind of tell them what we've collected in 22. And I think this was from 24. I think we skipped 23 maybe, but we're continuing to sort of build that. Also working with businesses that are local in the community, like in Columbia City, where they do have a lot of flooding issues in the fall, to try to promote our Adopt-A-DrainProgram as a way to help sustain our system. And so you kind of get a twofer with this program too. You get system operations and cleaner waterways. Making sure those reminders go out. This is how you report. We've also started a quarterly newsletter that will go out to adopters to keep them involved. We want to make sure that we're speaking to things of their concerns, like also upstream behaviors. So we heard that over 50% weren't cleaning their drain because there was nothing in it all the time. So we know it's seasonal, so it's good to talk to people about what's going on and say, hey, we know you're only going to clean it once a year, or a couple times a year, but it's important because this is what that storm drain means. So keep an eye on it. And then also, I think people just, when they have a pet waste issue, they'll just drop the little green bag by the drain. Have you ever seen that? I mean, do they think, I don't know what they're thinking, but hey, if the drain's adopted, I know it'll get picked up. And we also want to do timely reminders. Like I did mention, the fall is a great time to do recruitment. So our plan is to recruit heavily in the fall and then maintain our members, because you do need to keep people engaged if you want them to keep involved. So we're going to have a volunteer appreciation party with our Adopt-A-Street volunteers and our Trees for Seattle volunteers and the Adopt-A-Drainers on June 24th. So it'll be our first time to do that. So anyway, back to timely reminders too. We also send out a postcard, making sure people are raking their leaves, taking care of that, and that they can adopt their drain. So using that to communicate in a timely way the best time. But we will be reconsidering how we tell people when we're doing tabling, how often they're going to clean their drain. I know Minnesota, the recommendation is twice a month, 15 minutes. So we might say, hey, just keep an eye on it. Every month, take a look. Twice a month, take a look. If there's something there, clean it up and make sure you report it.
Perfect. All right. So Adopt-A-Drain is not intended as a one-off stewardship opportunity. It's designed for people to make ongoing, sustained action to reduce pollutants getting into the stormwater system and the downstream waterways. And so that's what it's meant to be for. We need to build the tools and the supports to not only recruit the drain adopters, but to retain them so that they continue that behavior long term. And this requires educating them about the link between drains and waterways, appealing to that clean water motivation in our community at least, making the behavior easier to do, easy to remember, and just a fun activity in your community. And we should be willing to also review our data, review the program, and adapt as we go along.
That's why I brought Jess, because she's going to make sure that gets done. But I also want to say that these photos that you've seen, some of these fun photos, the first year we had it, we had about 100 and maybe 200 adopters, and we did a photo shoot. We emailed out to everybody and said, will you be part of our photo shoot? We had 30, I have 30 little photo shoots that she went out and did. And this is the Tolles family. So moving forward, we need to sustain our Spanish language outreach. So that'll be our top priority. But I am going to be working with a consultant to do Chinese language, simple Chinese and Mandarin. It's going to scare me a lot because I speak un poquito de español, pero no, I don't understand Chinese language. So I'm going to take a leap of faith, but I'm going to work with a Chinese language expert. So looking forward to that and getting involved with the group. I also want to say we're going to strengthen our relationship with our partners, as you have seen, continue to build with Adopt-A-Street, but we also could partner with street sweeping. I think Tacoma has kind of launched into that. And we also have other city departments. We could partner with the Parks Department in just communicating about the program and amplifying our outreach. Coordinating with regional partners, I want to land there for a minute. We do have a monthly meeting that we host. You can email me or go through Anne and she will let you know. Seattle hosts a team site. On that site, there is a really great video for municipalities to look at, made by Jana Larson, who originally did the program. And it will talk about the back end things that you need to know, like what you can access, the data. There's also an MS4 site for Adopt-A-Drain. The thing is, water knows no boundaries, A. B, we know all those storm drains go to the local waterway. We know a lot of people don't know that yet. And we know that when people know that, they're going to be more conscious about picking it up. We've developed a program that asks them to do something, report it, and claim it. And I think it's a great way to create value for our infrastructure and to help people participate in their own neighborhood. Let's see.
Oh, sure. Yep. So we need to do another evaluation. We'll do another survey in 2029. We'll compare the data from that to when people joined, so we can get a before and after this time with our evaluation, which we didn't really have before. And then we're going to do something different. We'll see how it goes. We're going to pick out a neighborhood and keep an eye on it and track it and see how it looks over time. So that'll be kind of an additional part of our evaluation next time.
And yeah, and so we're done. We're on time. It's 4:45, right?
Any questions?
That'll be in our July deadline, I guess, that we have for the permit to say how we're going to implement the program, but we'll figure those.
Well, and another thing that we do at the city, I don't know, some cities have street sweepers that pick up the leaves. Well, we don't. We do on some major streets, arterials only, but there's a lot of streets in Seattle, right? So On those, we are asking people to make sure to rake the leaves in their yard so they don't get into the street. So that's part of our programming. So I've been looking at data on work orders around clogged storm drains regarding leaves and things. So I'll be able to overlay that as well with our decision on where we're going to go. So we like the idea that it operationally, it does something and for our environment. So it's like a nice synergy. So I think that's how we'll identify it.
Some data, residential, because we don't sweep there. And then maybe where we have some adopters or, yeah, we'll figure that out. I trust Harper to figure.
No, I trust you, Jess. I need you. But yeah, we'll do our best to use data to. So Adopt-A-Drain is significant in that you have to have a formal drainage system. Seattle's north and south ends do not have as formal of drainage systems, which is ditch and culverts. And I love that you've brought that up because I am talking to the person who does our ditch and culverts about how we're going to communicate better there, because those leaves and stuff do get in those and then they clog downstream.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anything to add?
Nothing really to add. I mean, I'm hoping that maybe with some of the communication, if we know that they're in those parts of the city, north, south, it's very clear for us. It's like north of 85th. Then maybe that can be some additional outreach or some extra words saying like, you know, your ditch is included or something like that. Yeah.
Well, and it's kind of like you can't really do Adopt-A-Drain because it's so specific, but as stormwater engagement and wanting to prevent flooding. But I hear what you're saying, but this one takes a drain.
Yeah. Oh,
You could drop a pin, you could add, I think it would take a lot of outreach and explanation, which is maybe not ideal, but someone could say, yeah, I'm gonna clean out in front of my yard, and so I'm gonna drop a pin and add that location.
I could get credit.
You would get, yeah, and then they would pick it up and they would do their claim.
When we developed this 10 years ago, Janet and I had heated discussions about what we should do, and I'm suggesting that, well, what about other folks? It's all, and Janet was saying, you've got to keep it simple, keep it tied to the storm drain, and it'll be okay. I view it as management of your front 40 from the farm. So it's like you're managing your back 40, your front 40 acres. It's your front 40 feet or 45 feet of your property, and that doesn't necessarily have to have a drain. But it is the idea of getting folks to think about proper lawn care, proper street management, because if it's on the street, it will eventually flow down to a drain. It has been a bit interesting. We have added this other component, which is anybody in the state of Washington can adopt their drain. The city that is not part of the program just does not get it, but they can by dropping a pin. If you are in the state, I think we have 35%, 40% of the people that have storm drains are actually have the GPS data from the city. It's just much easier to do. But we don't want to say, no, you can't do it, because what we see is in Minnesota, people are starting to adopt, and then their city says, what are you doing? The citizens are ahead of the cities, and therefore.
I think it also, depends on your system and whether your system maintenance staff want people messing around with culverts and ditches. Depends on the ownership, and so that's a really good question, and I think it's going to depend on your municipality and kind of what your policies are with that. We typically don't like people to start getting in our ditches and culverts.
I'm just thinking of
yeah.
the curb and gutter in front of the house. You have like really flat.
Yeah.
It does.
Well, and just going back to kind of what Tracy had said, the beauty of the program is the simplicity of it. So when I'm talking to this other manager of the ditch and culverts, I'm thinking differently in how I could support that.
You may want to get at it in a different way. Maybe, so maybe just different education.
So, but anyway, thank you guys so much.